If you want to be more efficient and effective while experiencing more inner peace, then working on the core of your issues instead of putting on a Band-Aid is vital. Welcome to LifePix University podcast. I'm your host, Esty Rapport, and here to help you improve your 28 cognitive functions, the 28 things that make up thinking. In each episode, we'll discuss a real-life challenge, why you might be struggling with it, and give you practical strategies so all areas of your life will improve.
Improving cognitive functions aren't easy. They take a while. So why should you take the time, money, energy, and all the effort it takes to improve your cognitive functions? Today, we're discussing why it helps to solve a core issue and 3 levels of benefit you get from doing so. That's what's coming up next on the LifePix University podcast, episode 394. But first, want a super easy to understand, super easy to implement resource on cognitive functions? I've got you. Grab your copy of your essential guide to cognitive functions at lifepixuniversity.com/guide. So it's lifepix, university.com/guide. For today's real life challenge, imagine you see a tiny hole in your kitchen ceiling with water dripping out. You really want to get rid of the hole and the water in there so you can cook and eat in peace. In order to get rid of the hole, you've got to understand where the water is coming from. What's the source of this problem? You don't need me to tell you that you're just plastering the hole will not help you. The water will just create another hole and be back in your kitchen before you can blink. You've got to first solve the core issue. You have to first solve the leak. Then you can fix the hole, plaster the ceiling, make it all nice and pretend it never happened. Although we're smart enough to solve our own problems with a leak, many times we try to solve our own problem by just putting on plaster, by just putting on a Band-Aid. A child misbehaving, give him a punishment or maybe bribe him to behave, but we forget about the core issue. There's a reason why the child is misbehaving. Maybe something happened at school. Maybe he's not feeling well. What is causing him to behave this way? There can be many reasons, and that is the reason you want to solve. What about in business? You run Facebook ads and they're not bringing in enough clients. So we put more money into those ads, but we forget to see why are they not bringing in clients? Do we need to change the copy, the offer, the target market? What's the real reason? Maybe the reason is because your target market is on LinkedIn and that would work better. Maybe one word in your heading would change the entire way the ad is perceived. Change the core issue, your problem will be solved. Many times, core issues are related to cognitive functions. You're always missing your deadlines. You may put later deadlines, have an accountable partner, or give yourself a prize when you hit the deadline. Although these may help, they're like putting plaster on a wall when you still have a leak. It's going to help you for right now for this action, but soon enough, the water's going to come out again and you're going to miss another deadline. You've got to first understand why you are always missing your deadline. And it's probably because of a cognitive function. It could be because of the cognitive function of time, of clear perception, of understanding reality. Any one of the 28 cognitive functions. What about you always getting into constant arguments with your husband? That too may be because of a cognitive function. It could be because of labeling, being precise, considering another point of view, or maybe giving a thoughtful response. So we want to make sure we're working on the core issues so that way we're not just putting on a plaster and water is going to come out really soon afterwards. Now, when we solve our core issues, we get 3 levels of benefit. The first one is the actual issue we're trying to solve. The thing that we're suffering from, the reason what we're trying to do goes away. The leak gets closed, so the water stops dripping into the house, right? That's what you were trying to do. You close your leak, there's no more water dripping down. You improve your cognitive function of space. You no longer get lost when you use Google Maps. That's what you're trying to do. You're constantly getting lost, so you improve your cognitive function of space, and that goes away anymore. So the actual issue you're trying to solve goes away. Now, that's level number 1. Level number 2 is that many times other symptoms or side effects go away also. For example, if you struggle with always getting very overwhelmed when you have so much to do and you want to improve your cognitive function of clear perception so that we could take things in an organized manner, not only does information come in now in a clear and organized manner so you don't get overwhelmed anymore when you're doing stuff, but very possibly when you go to events, you don't get overwhelmed anymore by the amount of people. Or what about when you go to a speech or you watch a video or listen to a podcast, you now get more information out of it because you don't get overwhelmed by all the information that's in that speech, that's in that podcast. So many times the symptoms and the side effects go away also. However, not always. It depends. Sometimes we also have to deal with symptoms. For example, in a leak, even though the water is still dripping, you'll still want to close up the ceiling and make it look all nice and beautiful again. But it's going to be a whole lot easier. So even if you do have to work on the symptoms and side effects, it's a lot easier. The third level you get when you improve your cognitive functions is many times, you improve all areas of your life. The reason for this is twofold. First of all, many of our actions, a lot more than we actually realize, is related to this cognitive function. So if we improve those cognitive functions, then those actions are going to be easier. But also, because all the cognitive functions are so related and they all have to do with each other, many times when you improve one of them, other cognitive functions become easier to do, even if it's not related for this specific task. In general, the cognitive function becomes easier and other actions in our lives become even better. I like to imagine it like a circle, right? In the center, we have the reason for why we're personally deciding why it's worth it for us to put in this effort to work on this cognitive function. Right? So this is our reason that we're working on. Now, around that circle, that's a little circle in the middle. Around that circle, we have the symptoms and the side effects. And then around that circle, we have all the actions of our everyday life. When we improve a cognitive function, we're throwing a pebble to that center circle, center right in the middle, and it sends ripple effects that lead many times all the way to the end. So all the circles get affected and all the circles begin to improve. But I am going to remind you, just like when you throw a pebble in a lake, not always do the ripple effects go so big. When you improve a cognitive function, not always will everything in your life improve because there are so many things related to it. There are so many other cognitive functions. You have so many other aspects to your life. You're not just a lake in the water, right? So sometimes we need to throw another pebble inside the middle circle, work on improve another cognitive function, and then it will work even better. Today we spoke about why you want to work on your core issue and the 3 levels of benefit you get. The actual issue you are trying to solve, the symptoms or the side effects, and all your actions. Your challenge this week is to take any action step that will help you improve a cognitive function you are working on and see what level of effects it has on you. If you have a copy of the guide, you can use any of those steps, which, by the way, you could get at lifepicksuniversity.com/guide. Or you can go back to any of the previous podcast episodes, listen to the action steps that will help you improve that cognitive function and see how it's not just helping you improve that cognitive function, but it's having ripple effects and giving you 3 levels of benefit. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.
That's all for this episode of the Life Picks University podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with 2 of your family and friends so they too can gain from it, and you'll be helping us reach our goal of 1 million downloads by the end of 2025. Have an awesome rest of your day and grow those dendrites.